With me, I have a very special guest. Rokas was just playing, something about being thankful. And I think a lot of us are just so thankful to be moving into the new year because we're going to be talking about cervical cancer. And I'm sure most of you or some of you maybe know somebody who died from cervical cancer. So we're going to be talking to a very, very interesting young lady. We're going to be talking to Miss Paige Ribeiro Agard, who is the co-founder and director of the Ayana S. Dyette Foundation for Cervical Cancer.
Yes, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
How are you this morning,
I
Ms.
am
Ribeiro
great
Agard?
this morning. How are you?
And not too bad, actually. Looking forward to 2022.
I know.
We just spoke to a life coach and he gave me some tips, so I'm going to see how I can inculcate that.
I love that. I listened in as well, so I will be sure to apply that.
All right, so what is the Ayana S? Well, first of all, tell us who is Ayana S. Dyette? And of course, tell us what the foundation is about.
Sure. So Ayana Sasha Dyette, that's what the S is for.
Nice.
She was my aunt. She would have actually passed away from cervical cancer in 2018. She was a ex-national volleyball player. She played both indoor and beach volleyball. One of the fittest persons I knew, and yet she would have passed from this disease, but not just, it wasn't just cancer. This is cervical cancer that's highly preventable. So with that being said, our family really wanted to share her last wish, which was to share her story so that other women would not succumb to this disease. Hence, the foundation was started in 2019. So we're only 3 years old, but we are ready to fight this because it can be eradicated.
What are some of the initiatives that the foundation, because you just said that you're pretty young, about 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
What are some of the initiatives that the foundation has started, since its inception? Yeah.
So we would have collaborated with the people like PSI Caribbean Cancer Research Initiative, Trinidad and Tobago Cancer Society, RX Rounds, Health and Wellness. And with all of them, we would have done things like podcast. We would have gone out to the communities where we would have teamed up with TTCS to do a mobile screening unit where we offer free pap smears to the public. And the support from the public, or rather we saw the need for it because a lot of women out there are not able to go for whatever reason. We try to make sure the mobile units are in places where we have heavy foot traffic and where we also have women that, they may not have transportation to get to places. Some of them may not have funding to receive this. A lot of them actually are not familiar with what a pap smear is. So it's a holistic effort where we're trying to educate the public so that we can prevent cervical cancer, so that we can eventually eradicate it. And that's really just sticking with our vision, where we want to save lives through education, prevention, and eradication of cervical cancer. Besides that unit, we saw the need for that whole education aspect. And the education really starts within the schools, the young system, because the preventative methods that we have for cervical cancer has to start at the teenage level in order for it to really be a success. So therefore, we would have teamed up with PSI Caribbean to educate some secondary schools. The hope is that more will come on board to want to spread that awareness to their children, just how they can prevent themselves, to ensure that young ladies as well from that age and understands that their health is their wealth. And it's okay to make that investment from then. Parents, it's okay to invest in your children's health from then.
Can we touch a bit about what are some of the preventative measures that the young ladies can, start from now,
Sure.
to prevent, getting cervical cancer?
So the first main preventative method is the HPV vaccine. This has been out for a couple of years now. Actually, a recent study in the UK would have shown, so they would have started their HPV vaccination program in 2008. As of January 2021, they were able to safely say that the HPV vaccine prevents cervical cancer. The reduction rate was 90% between girls who were vaccinated between 12 and 13. But besides the HPV vaccine, we now have things like your pap smear. So that's your secondary form of prevention. This is something that young ladies, there's controversial topics behind it because some people say it's painful, they don't really understand it, but I think sometimes we just need somebody to educate us about it. We're here, the foundation is here to educate you about it. It's not painful. It's a mere seconds of your life just for you to make sure that you're okay. I mean, we make so many efforts to go get our hair done, our nails done, make sure we look good on the outside, but are we taking care of ourselves on the inside? And that's something that we really want to push, because as young women, we tend to put our health in the background. We like to take care of our family, our friends, everybody else but ourselves. And we don't realize that we're not investing in any one investment that really means the most, your health.
How receptive has the public been to it though?
Extremely receptive. I think it's a mix of both, because people are not aware, so it's a new topic for a lot of people, so they're able to grasp information. We also have the scientific facts that are there, so it's not like I'm talking out of my head. I myself witnessed my aunt passing from cervical cancer, and truth be told, y'all, it was not easy. It's very scary. It sucks you alive. The aunt that I left in January is not the aunt that I saw in July. She would have survived for a mere 5 months. And let me tell you, that took everything from her. And I will not want anybody else to go through that, or their family members.
I'm curious as to how she found out that she had cervical cancer, because you said it's something that can be prevented, but if you find out about it late, how did she find out that she had it?
Great question. So she would have been diagnosed with fibroids, so we were treating that, or rather her gynecologist would have been treating with that. And my mom said she would have gotten up feeling really ill one day, a lot of pain, decided to rush herself to the hospital, and there they just diagnosed her. So truth be told though, Ayana went for a pap smear, and she never went back after they told her she had abnormal cells. Now, this is something that we find very common with people, because a lot of persons are not very comfortable with hearing bad news about their health. Nobody wants to hear it, right? Knowing Ayana as well, she was also always on the go, fit, busy, think probably it's something, nothing. Cervical cancer is very, very slow. It takes very slow, to progress. It took about 8 to 10 years to present itself, because she would have gone in 2010.
That was for the pap smear?
That was for the pap smear, where they would have picked up something abnormal. Yet we only got a diagnosis in 2018. And what these studies have been showing is that it's just a very slow progressing cancer. So therefore, it's one of those, if it's caught early, and you pick that up in your pap smears, your regular screening, once they find abnormality in your cells, they'd be able to do whatever necessary procedures, and that's it. That survival rate, once early detection happens, is extremely high. But you have to do what you have to do before. You have to get your pap smears done, and those of you who are in a position to get vaccinated can vaccinate themselves and their kids.
Can you still vaccinate? Do you have to vaccinate in that early preteen age, or can you vaccinate older?
So yes, preteen is priority, or rather that's the preferred age, but yes, you can vaccinate after. You can even vaccinate after you felt like you've been exposed to HPV, because there are over 200 strains of HPV, and some of them are low risk, high risk. The ones that are directly related to cervical cancer are high risk HPV. So sometimes you may have been exposed to a low risk one, somebody may have gotten genital warts. You can still get vaccinated after, because the vaccine now prevents you from the other types of HPV that we have out there. And just a little fun fact, in 2018 alone, we have 43 million infections of HPV worldwide. That alone screams the prevalence in the community and the fact that we have to do something about it, because it's here. But we have the science and the technology for us to prevent death. Why not invest in it?
Now, I would love to keep you here all day. But I know one of the things that you came to speak to us about is the 5K. So just tell us quickly about that before we close.
Yes, of course. So the foundation, our main source of funding would be our 5K. We started our first 5K in 2020, where we got an actual event. It was great. Irfan Alves came and performed. Fantastic. COVID came. So we had to adjust because cervical cancer isn't going anywhere, so therefore we can't go anywhere. So we decided, okay, we need to raise funds still, so we're going to do a virtual 5K, which we did this year. It was fantastic, and we're ready to do the next one next year. A lot of people ask, what is a virtual 5K though? Exactly what the word says, it's virtual. So basically, you do your 5K on your own. you can decide if you want to do 1K today, you can do 1K tomorrow, because we have the 5K for the entire month of January, from the 1st to the 31st. Not sure if you all know, because January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. So we really try to push the 5K during that month. Persons can register on raceroster.com and really give that support, because at the end of the day, I know that we all know something that's affected by cancer. It's something that's so common now, but it really helps when we have people investing in something that's so highly preventable. World Health Organization, we have a plan, like 2030, this is going to be eradicated and eliminated. We just have to have the right people involved. So the virtual 5K is the first way that you can definitely start, by supporting the foundation. And of course, anything that you heard today, take it away and share it with someone, because education is the first way for us to eradicate cervical cancer.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Paige Ribeiro-Agard, who is the co-founder and director of the Ayana S. Dyette Foundation. And of course, if people want to find you, they can go to your socials.
Yes, of course, Ayana S. Dyette Foundation on both Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you so much, Ms. Paige Ribeiro-Agard.
Thank you very much for having me.
You are on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Stay with us.
Thanking God for another day. Oh Lord, thank you for another. As I rise and I pray, thanking God for